What's up, guys? We are back with another Mythic Legions All-Stars 5 review, and we're taking a look at a figure that I've already taken a look at before, but this is the finished production version, and there is a difference from the prototype that I got to take a look at, what, last year? Last year, right? So we're taking a look at the latest goblin in the line. We're taking a look at Swigg, and he does have at least one change that I can see when it comes to his soft goods, so I figure we'll take another look. Now, of course, he comes in a regular package for the Mythic Legions line, removable, collector friendly. You can take him out, put him back in if you so choose. He's in the window. You've got his Arethyr faction card on one side, bio card on the other, and then the back of the package gives us, again, the Arethyr artwork that we've seen throughout All-Stars. Cross-sell for this wave as far as, the overwhelming majority of the new stuff, and then you get your write-up of Mythos. So let's do it. Let's pull this little guy out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, Mythic Legions All-Stars 5 Swigg, the latest goblin in the line, and one that's, again, special for me because I got to do the reveal on him. So I had him before people knew he existed, and I got to do that first initial look at him. I wasn't going to do a review for this guy originally because I already have, but he does have a change, so I'm gonna talk about it again, and frankly, I've been really excited to get this figure again, and I want to talk about him anyway. So let's see what he can do, see how he moves around. He's a 2.0 goblin, so if you've messed with one, you know what's going on here. The head, of course, is new, so he's got some good range on this head, up and down. Tilt side to side, you've got your rotation. Arms out at the shoulders, of course, rotation, and you've got your single-jointed 90-degree elbow. We've got swiveling gauntlet here. As usual, you've got swivel and hinge at those wrists, so lateral hinges. We've got the diaphragm cut, so he goes, bobbles all around. It's pretty decent movement, pretty good forward and backward on this guy. Nice tilt as well. And then you've still got a waist twist down there. Legs on Swigg will go out about that far, pretty much the full splits, really. You can get him to kick forward, basically all the way as well. Kick backward. You've got your thigh swivel up there. We've got our single-jointed rotating knee. And then you've got rotation at the top of the ankle, you've got your hinge, and you've got your rocker down there. And I will say, just like with Lady Averona, being that both of these are 2.0 figures, I will say that the joints, specifically the ankles, do seem to be really tight. I haven't had any issues. I didn't have to heat anything up on this figure. Everything was just fine. And I do feel like he's a lot more sturdy than some of the older figures are at this stage in the game. So he feels really nice and tight with no need to do much to get him moving. Now, the visuals on this guy are what I was most interested in and what I continue to be most interested in, because we're selling a specific kind of goblin here. And a lot of what we have in the goblin realm so far is mostly just, warriors. Snag is a thief, basically, but he is still very much in the warrior realm. This is not a warrior. He's an alchemist, so I'm basically going to try to use him as like a wizard type of character because he definitely has that vibe. He still has a ton of battle armor on him, don't get me wrong. He is still overwhelmingly a 2.0 goblin that you potentially have a bunch of on your shelf. So we've seen all this armor before, but it's done up in a really nice, kind of gross color scheme too. Like, it's all dark browns and copper with tons and tons of grit and grime dry brushed all over it. So he's very familiar territory when it comes to his armor. I do like this armor setup, though, because I really like it's more of that sort of Dark Knight style armor that we see. This just happens to be on a goblin, but I think it works really well for him, especially in conjunction with the color scheme that they've chosen to give him. This brown, copper, and of course the purple accents. I do think there are a few standout things about him, though. Of course, we've got a newer style belt here, which I think fits him really nice. It's got a bunch of pouches and stuff on it, so that kind of befits the alchemy vibe. He does have the style posy hands. These are like actually the orc hands, 1.0 hands, but they work really well on him, despite being slightly oversized. He's a figure that includes extra hands, so we'll talk about those here in a bit, but I do like these. These befit his alchemy role. And then, of course, we have this new head sculpt, which the head was actually something that we'd seen before, but not in figure form. It was in the Deluxe Legion Builders artwork. So if, you might have caught it and not knew it was him until after he was revealed. But he's got a hood, he's got that big pointy goblin ears that stick out, and he has this super wide, like, snub nose, which gives him a really unique expression. He's got this gnarled teeth, full mouthful of teeth there. He's got the big flat snub nose, and he's got these super, super wide but piercing yellow eyes. I really like his head sculpt. It's probably one of my favorite goblin head sculpts. But I think the big thing that this figure brings to the table that also is the thing to talk about for me are the soft goods, because he has a lot of them. He has two pieces. So he's got the back skirt piece, and it's all wired, so you can have it like up and billowing behind him. Marilyn Monroe style, if you need to do something like that. And he's got the front tabard piece that is of course wired, so you can have it sort of swaying if you've got him walking or in some sort of, action-y pose. But this is also a change from the prototype that I had. I don't know if that was always the intent or not. I can't speak to that, but it was different. The piece that I had originally was a more matte finish. Matte's not the right word for fabric, but it wasn't as metallic. It didn't have a sheen to it. And it was also kind of dirty and just nasty. So it could have been just a situation where they included that on the prototype because it's what was available. But this is what ultimately came out. So this is different than what I had originally shown folks. But I do think this works pretty well. I think it looks good. I think both of them have their merits, so I'm not really sure which one I'm leaning towards, but I do like this, and I do like the fact that he still has all of this stuff. Like you can use the front piece as just a little tabard extension thing. I've seen folks use the back skirt piece as like a small cape for him as well, because of course it all just comes off if you pop the torso off. So he does have a little bit of a change. I don't know that it's the biggest change or the end of the world kind of a change. I think it looks good. I'm loving more and more soft goods in this line. More and more soft goods, please, with every figure. Frankly, I'll be over the moon with that. So I do think he looks great. I'm really happy that this figure still retains the overwhelming majority of what I saw originally. Love the head sculpt, love the armor colors, and I still like the fact that he has all of these soft goods because it makes him specifically unique amongst the goblins. And then as far as some size comparisons go, let's of course start with Legion. So we've got Swigg in the middle, so a 2.0 goblin. We've got Gonks, which is a 1.0 dwarf goblin, basically. And we've got a 1.0 skeleton over here for the different body styles when it comes to Legion. So you've got, something that's slightly more thick and chunky, something that is, of course, taller. Now, let's move these guys aside and do something different. So let's do a Super 7 figure. Here is Tommy, Power Rangers. And let's do a NECA figure. Here is Invisidon from the Turtles Universal Monsters line. And then let's move Tommy aside and let's do a Hasbro figure. So here is a G.I. Joe Classified. And let's do a Figuarts. Here is Superhero Piccolo. And then let's just do one more. Let's do another 7-inch scale line. Here is a Masterverse figure. Here is the new Eternia He-Man. So, if you've messed with one 2.0 Goblin, you know exactly what to expect. Slender, shorter, and all around just a smaller figure, but still in that 7-inch scale range. Now, as far as accessories goes, Swigg has a handful, nothing crazy. He has kind of like the standard loadout of a normal Mythic Legions figure. So to start with, he does get some pauldrons, and these are the sort of leather pauldrons that we've seen that have sort of creeped up in the line ever since the Alithia wave. He is one of the few figures in all of Legions that I think works well either way. So, I don't know if it's necessary to have the pauldrons. I kind of feel like at some instances they look a little too big on him, but they also do look good on him at the same time. So, yeah, I might go one way or another on this one. But they do look nice, and they very much match his armor scheme with that sort of brown undercoat, and then you've got the sort of nastiness over top of all that copper armor. Now, he also has some weaponry and things like that. You've got this bone-handled sword, which I really like. I just like this. It's a gnarly looking weapon. So you've got that sort of angled blade, and then you've got the bone handle. Nice paint on there. It looks worn and weathered. We've got the little dagger that has like this sort of gin style knife almost encasing. So you can pop that out, and you've just got gold handle, silver blade. And this can be put on his belt, so it can, sort of latch on him. You don't have to use anything extra to make this attached to him. And then we've got, arguably the best accessory for him, right? Because he's, sorcerer, alchemist, wizard, whatever you're going to go for. He has an actual staff, which has, it's sort of this gnarled tree branch kind of thing going on here. You've got some wraps on it, and then you've got these gold adornments with this blue bauble. I believe this was new for him at the time, and you've got this little blue bauble up there at the top. So some cool stuff, and this is also obviously very, very large. It's a lot bigger than the figure itself. You do, of course, get the ever-present strap for him if you need it. And the one bonus thing that we get with him, because of course he has the sort of style posy hands on him in the box, we do of course get some gripping hands. So, again, always nice to see extra hands creep into this line more and more and more, which is, obviously more of a prevalent thing these days than it has ever been. But he does include an extra set so he can hold all this stuff. So yeah, overall, really happy with this guy. Again, I was already really interested in getting this figure. It means something a little bit different to me just because I got to do that reveal. So it's kind of a special thing, for me and the channel and just the history of the line for me. So it's kind of cool to be able to do that. But of course, the figure delivers just like every other Legions figure. I also really like goblins. So that's a big thing for me too, to get another goblin. I think the only thing that's truly worth mentioning between my two videos at this point is the fact that, yeah, the soft goods are not the same. They have a different texture, they have a different finish to them. These are far more factory fresh than the really nasty, dirty, worn soft goods that the prototype figure had. Otherwise, though, I mean, I think he looks great. I still think he looks great regardless of that change. I love his accessories. I really like the staff. The staff is the big thing for this figure for me because it really sells the idea of the kind of class of figure that he is. And then, of course, getting extra hands is something that, while we still don't see a lot of it, we're going to get a lot more going forward, and it's cool to get them as they come out, as they're starting to introduce those more and more in the line. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legions All-Stars 5 Plus Swig. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.